The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Today's guest is Carolina Teague. She is guest number 50. Well, the thing is, Carolina, what haven't you done? You are 2020 first woman in 10 years to be on a radio in San Antonio, if I'm correct. You was voted 2023 by the fans that you know of the best radio in Texas, if I'm correct. You told me to do the research. I hope that's correct.
You did really good. 2023 fan voted best ring announcer in Texas. First woman in San Antonio to have a sports radio show and host it, which is crazy because I can't even find that anywhere. But that is a fact. So thanks for doing your homework. And I was the first woman or the first Latina woman to have a sports radio show in San Antonio. And I was the only woman to win the Rock the Mic competition for a spot on ESPN San Antonio in 2017.
There is a lot of first in that, which that's got to be amazing itself.
Yeah, it is. It was amazing, and it was a journey and an experience on its own. So a lot of barriers to break and a lot of things to push through, but it was done, and I'm really grateful for all the work that I was able to do during that time.
Yeah, you grew up in Chicago, if that's correct.
Yes, I did. I grew up in the south side of Chicago, and I moved to San Antonio when I was a teenager.
Yeah, so big difference between Chicago and Texas, and well, San Antonio. Big difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When I grew up in Chicago, there was a lot of crime, which there's crime everywhere, but that was the lifestyle I was used to and just numb to it. And it makes you strong, and our teachers used to always tell us to stay in school because that was going to be our only way out of those type of environments.
Yeah, you mentioned being the first Latina to do all those things. Whereabouts is your roots?
So I'm from the south side of, so I was born in the south side of Chicago, but my family, I think I'm third generation Mexican. My family originates from Michoacan, Mexico. So they're from Mexico. They came to the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, came there in the early, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm hoping it's like the 60s or something. And then we just planted our roots in Texas, and then my family moved to Chicago before I was born.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you mentioned, well, we spoke obviously beforehand, like messaging and stuff like that. I think, and people have told me this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Texas has the best wrestling. Is that correct?
I'm biased because I live here, but people move from all across the country to come here to Texas to wrestle. And every time I interview a wrestler myself, they always have stories, especially if they live in Canada or if they live in northern Texas, that they intentionally move to Texas so they can get the best wrestling training possible. So not only is it, a little bit biased on my end, it kind of seems a bit factual in a sense because I've talked to so many people that have moved down here just so they can get that proper training and experience.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Zilla Fatu himself, who is the Reality of Wrestling world champion, and we will talk about Reality of Wrestling in a minute. But Zilla said that Texas Reality of Wrestling has the best wrestling school. There's loads of people that come there. I mean, just look at what September's offering for Reality of Wrestling. You've got Gold Rush coming up on September the 14th. You've got the Sherry Martel Invitation. That's going to be on the 29th, which females that have been announced for that, you've got Haley J, you've got Jasmine Allure. I can't quite pronounce that.
Yeah, Jasmine Allure.
Yeah, that.
And they just announced she's going to be there. It's going to be great.
Yeah, the Storm, and that's their second annual event. So, Reality of Wrestling, we'll talk about them now, but what an amazing company. You are very fortunate to work for them. Tell us all about your story and how it got started.
Yeah, so how I got to Reality of Wrestling, is that?
Yeah.
So I had been in sports radio for a long time, And in San Antonio, I was making a name for myself just based off of the I guess I don't know, I would say like it was like a new lane that I was carving out for women that look like me in San Antonio. I started getting news coverage and all that stuff, and that afforded me opportunities to be on radio all across the nation. So I've been on Inside Edition, the New York Post, um, ESPN Las Vegas. Then I was on ESPN Houston. I was on Austin radio stations, Corpus Christi. So I was just like planting my feet and doing segments across various markets across the nation when it came to radio. And that was helping me build my name for myself. I was talking about a variety of sports as well. And in 2018, I believe I met a man named Brandon Oliver here in San Antonio, River City Wrestling. He had came into the ESPN San Antonio studio, and I was a I watched wrestling growing up, but I wasn't a diehard fan like a lot of people have been, which I've gotten a little bit of judgment for that. But I my thought process on that is, I've covered boxing heavily, I've covered the NFL heavily, NBA heavily, and boxing was one of the combat sports that I would cover a lot. And they're dying as a sport here in the United States. And the reason for that, I believe one of the many reasons is because there was a lot of gatekeepers in boxing, not trying to make certain matches happen, not allowing people to become casual fans, being very particular about exhibition matches like Jake Paul versus a Mike Tyson, being hypercritical about those things. So because of that, I think that's a lot of the reason why the sport is dying. And in the sport of wrestling, I think they welcome everybody and they're open to like new fans or having Bad Bunny come on. And I think that is why the sport keeps growing, because they welcome people from all types of backgrounds, all kinds of life, and have multiple companies you can choose from to watch. And I think that's why the sport has grown tremendously. Brandon Oliver saw the vision for me to be a ring announcer because I already had the voice. So I became their ring announcer there. And then I started getting more work in wrestling. And um, Brad Gilmore, who is the lead commentary for Reality of Wrestling, also has a show with Booker T nationwide on ESPN National Radio. And they, prior to that, though, they were at ESPN Houston. And a friend of mine at ESPN Houston had said that I'd be perfect to be at Reality of Wrestling because of my ties with radio and being able to remove that fan element from the commentary that I give. And I spoke to Brad. We had a good conversation. He asked me to come to Reality of Wrestling, and I never left. I just stayed.
Like we mentioned, obviously, reality wrestling is killing it, and I think it's one of the top independent promotions in the United States. Texas as a whole, for you, Texas is like your element. You've got Mission Pro Wrestling that you're fond for as well, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But like we mentioned, I'll put some pictures up, and we've got what we've got coming up. You've got Gold Rush coming on the 14th of September, which that itself, I mean, just look at the people that's been announced. I'll drop them up, and it's just amazing. And you've got sorry, that's your YouTube channel. I'll go for that.
Me.
All right, we've got Teague Ray and sorry, I can't quite see.
Gigi Ray and Monica Monroe
Yeah,
versus Jada Stone and Maya World for the Reality of Wrestling Tag Team Champions. And you're right. Reality Wrestling is the premier Texas wrestling show, and I love all the wrestling promotions that I've been able to be a part of in Texas. They're all absolutely incredible. The reason why I say that Reality of Wrestling is the premier one is because if you are lucky, you live in the UK, but if you ever come out to Texas and come see us, like the energy there is unmatched. it's like a completely different experience than what you're gonna get anywhere at it from an indie perspective. I haven't seen an indie crowd that insane every single show, every single month, every single time. It's explosive every time.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, who's walking away with the titles?
Oh man, this one's really tough. That's a great question.
'Cause I
Uh,
know who I've got.
who do you have?
I think Gigi Ray, and that's Gigi Ray's team's going to win.
Why do
I
you
think
feel like that?
new champions. I think it's time for new champions. I just think fresh.
You know what? I'm gonna roll with Jada Stone and Maya World retain. And the reason why I say that they're gonna retain is because Monica Monroe took some personal time off, which is nothing has nothing to do with, the tag team and the way that they can make magic in the ring. But I believe this is their first time tagging together here at Reality of Wrestling. So I feel like the Reality of Wrestling just had their very first women's tag team championship at Summer of Champions last month, and Jada Stone and Maya World were able to walk away with it. Jada Stone had been in 5 matches at Reality of Wrestling and never won anything. This is her first time winning something at Reality of Wrestling, and then she became a tag team champion. Maya World is trained all over the world, and not only that, they're best friends. Gigi Ray and Monica Monroe, they're also really close in real life as well, but I'm going to give the slight edge to the ladies that have a little bit more experience as a tag here at Reality of Wrestling. So that's why I'm going with Jada Stone in My World on that one.
I see your point. I see you. And then
They're both incredible teams, and I just know that, like, I really don't know who's going to come out on top, and that's kind of why I'm excited for this one.
well, this event as a whole, the card, people that's on it is unbelievable. And I'm going to pop someone up in a minute, and he's a former UK tag team champion, Josh Briggs. He's been no, that's it. Josh Briggs has been announced, which I think reality of wrestling, and when it's had people come on before, like from WWE, NXT, it's been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Josh coming in, adding his bit of flavour to and his experience is quite amazing.
Yeah, I feel like to even be able to have NXT talent at an indie promotion is huge to begin with, because I've heard through the grapevine and not through Reality of Wrestling, but it's hard in particular to get any NXT talent to go to an indie show. So the fact that Reality of Wrestling is able to get NXT talent at an indie promotion at an indie price is incredible. And yeah, you're right. Josh Briggs does add that extra flavor to the card that's going to show that Gold Rush is going to be another incredible show that they have lined up. Like, they continue to impress me every time with the type of people that they bring down here just to showcase the best talent in the world, especially here in Texas.
Yeah, I mean NXT keep allowing talent to come to reality of wrestling, and it's quite amazing. And I think what we're seeing in the world of professional wrestling now is you've got people showing up. Obviously, you've got the promotions like AEW and New Japan having their little like friendship, and then you've got like people that's being allowed from WWE to appear everywhere. You've got AJ Styles that appeared in Noah. You've got some other NXT talents that's in Noah. You had Shayna Baszler for GCW, the blood sport. You've got NXT coming to Raw. Just they're appearing everywhere, and I think that 2024 for professional wrestling, I think is quite good, and that adds that element to, like you mentioned earlier, it being different. So people will bring in the audience and stuff.
Yeah, I like the fact that you don't have to see the politicking. Like, you see the crossover with TNA and the WWE. We saw that earlier this year on stage, or you see the crossovers that they have with AEW talent, and seeing crossovers like with NXT to Reality of Wrestling. That just continues to keep the sport kind of pushing forward in a positive direction that other companies are able to connect with each other, collab, bring their talent, share their talents. Even here at River City Wrestling, our show this Sunday, they're having TNA talent come down. So these type of crossovers are necessary to keep the sport moving forward. And adding Josh Briggs to the card is just like another like stamp that kind of solidifies your point. 2024 is going to be a year of growth for the sport of wrestling, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we will move on to this man who is, like you mentioned, he's one of your favourite, he's one of mine, Mr. Zilla Fatu, the reality of wrestling world champion. I think he's killing it at the moment. I think whoever his opponent is, it's going to be banger of a match. Just nothing but great things to say to him. I think it's good. Obviously, he had his falling out with Booker T, but now he's come back and, like Zilla mentioned in the podcast that I did with him, it's all about growth. Finding yourself as a person. So I think that's quite amazing.
You know what? I like for me watching him in real life is just a treat because the crowd goes absolutely insane when he comes out. Like the energy is like unmatched. So even if you don't know who he is and that's your first time watching him, you already know he's a star in the making. Like I have zero doubt in my mind he's going to take it to the next level. He has the fan base, he has that personality, he has the crowd and the love and support from so many people, and it's just inevitable. I think if he, like you said, the growth is really important and staying on that track. I mean, sky's the limit for Zilla. I think he's incredible, and he won the championship last at Summer Champions. It was absolutely amazing versus Edgestone, and I don't know who his opponent is either, but anytime it seems like they have a reality wrestling card with Zilla Fatu, is like they always put like the strongest, biggest opponent they can possibly get against him. So whoever it is going to be, I know he's going to have his work cut out for him. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Definitely going to be really good. But yeah, whoever he steps in the ring with is just amazing matches.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
like fireworks, like definitely. And I don't know, I don't think they've released the Edgestone versus Zilla match on YouTube, but if you get a chance, once they do release that Summer of Champions match, like check it out. It's gonna be really fun.
Definitely. And then you've got, have you got?
Fly Death.
Yes.
Def, yeah. These are four-time tag team champions at Reality of Wrestling, and I don't know what happened, but they attacked the remote controls, which are a tag team as well. And they're an up and coming young team from Reality of Wrestling, trained there. And they looked up to Fly Def as their role models. And about 2 shows ago, Fly Def attacked the remote controls from behind. And it was really bad. Okay. Because everyone loves Fly Deaf. They've never seen that side of them where they attack people from behind. So they're turning a new leaf over. And I had spoke to them at the Summer of Champions, and I asked them like, what's going on with you guys? Like, I asked them behind the scenes, what's going on? Why are y'all attacking people now? What's your problem with the remote controls? And essentially their problem is like, we're not getting our respect. We're not getting people think they could just come in. We've been here for almost a decade. They're the most decorated tag team champion at Reality of Wrestling, and they feel like they don't get the respect that they deserve. They don't get a lot of camera time. They don't get a lot of interviews. Nobody ever reaches out to them to let them tell their story, which I think they'd be great for you to have on, by the way. And their problem is that nobody puts some respect on their name. Nobody puts respect on all the hard work they've done. And they're just tired of being the nice guy. They're tired of being the mentors to see the other people get lifted up. So yeah, they attack the remote controls to set a statement like, okay, we can be classy, we can be those 4-time champions that you'd like, but we're not going to allow ourselves to be stepped on anymore. And we're going to make a statement that you can't just come in here and think you're going to take over Reality of Wrestling. It doesn't work like that. So they've turned a new leaf. I've never seen them this motivated to show that they belong here more than anybody. And Yeah, the remote controls, when I talked to them, they were like, these were our mentors. We looked up to them. They turned their back on us. So I can see both sides. I can see the younger tag team side on why they feel the way they feel. But I also feel like Fly Def, I understand their frustration. I understand why they're upset. They're not getting the recognition that they deserve. So yeah, I love them. I love
Yeah.
this is gonna be another incredible matchup. Whoever they get, they're gonna try to kill him. I know.
Would you say they remind you of like a young version of Harlem Heat?
I mean, yes, I do. I think they would. You know what? Yeah, kind of. You know what? That's a great way to put it. I think so. Um, I do think so, but I also think that they're themselves too. I think that they're really, really unique in a sense that they're extremely talented. They I think this is an important thing to mention too. They take very good care of their physique and they take pride in that. And they also are just really grounded people. So I think they're their own version of themselves, Zach Zilla and Flyboy Warren J. And they want to take over the world. And yes, they are, in a sense, a reminder of Harlem Heat, but I also feel like this is who they are. And I can't wait to see what comes of this next chapter for them.
Definitely, 100%. Great team. But it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of months what happens with them.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should definitely have them on because, like I said, they were literally like you could go back to a clip of Reality of Wrestling, and they were like, we don't get interviews. Why? And I think letting them tell their story, I think that'd be pretty cool.
I'll reach out to them and see what happens. Stay
Yeah,
tuned. So, because Gold Rush is such an event, and we've gone through a little bit, let's go through like some talent that's still to be announced, like still being announced. You've got, let's see, that's quite small. Penny
Promise
Braxton.
Braxton.
That's
Promise
it.
Braxton. Promise Braxton is the chosen one. Booker T anointed Promise Braxton as the chosen one at Reality of Wrestling. She is very, very decorated, has been all over the world. She was in Japan for a while, just came back, and she's also kind of in the same boat as Fly Def and Warren J. She feels like she didn't get the respect she deserved as being the most decorated Diamonds champion of all time. Diamonds was the women's division at Reality of Wrestling, and they've since renamed themselves recently to the Reality of Wrestling women's division. They've added that tag team roster and stuff like that, but they're originally called the Diamonds division, and she's the most decorated out of everybody. The way that she processes herself in the ring, her technicalities, her American style wrestling mixed with that Japanese style wrestling, has really elevated how Promise Braxton performs inside of the ring. So I feel like, whoever Promise goes up against too, like they have their work cut out for them because she really, if you watch her, she had, I think she was at Ring of Honor recently, and she just, yeah, don't mess with her. Like sometimes I'll ask her, like, what's your mode going into tonight? And she has nothing to say to me. Like she just watch me. Like that's all she'll say. So she's all about her business. She is all about her business and she is all about getting wins. So yeah, if you watch Promise Braxton in the ring, she's one of a kind. And that's why Booker T has anointed her as the chosen one because she really is. When you watch her in the ring, she's not like any other girl I've ever seen. She just gets down to business and she does a great job.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely. I think for her, she's like a little firecracker. You get her in the ring and she's like you mentioned, the Japanese style mixed with the American style. Yeah, don't mess with it.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with her.
Yeah, and then we've got Alexia Gracia.
Alex Gracia.
That's
So
it. That's like a little Spanish accent there.
this is going to be my first time actually seeing Alex Gracia live at Reality of Wrestling. I've heard about her through the grapevine because when I was coming up in the wrestling world, this was like right around the COVID time, COVID shut down everything. Um, I had my radio show and people were messaging me. This is like right before COVID shut everything down. And they were like, you need to get Alex on. Like, she lives in Austin. And I remember going to her page and she had pink hair. So she was really known for like her pink hairstyle and just being really girly and really flashy. But she has previously been a Diamonds Division champion also at Reality of Wrestling. And she has been putting out videos saying that basically everybody's been a placeholder and she's back to take what's hers, and that's to take the Diamonds champion, or the women's division champion, if you will, at Reality of Wrestling. And it's kind of like a blast from the past seeing Alex come back. And she's also an extremely talented wrestler and has been at Reality of Wrestling. Reality of Wrestling only brings the best of the best. And I think this goes back to like being the premier talent in Texas. So I know I've never seen her in person, but I just know what to I just know that I probably expect fireworks from her as well.
Definitely, 100%. So there's a lot of things that we need to cover, but Gold Rush, we'll just say is going to be an event and people are not going to want to miss it. So I think whoever's watching this, or even who still hasn't got tickets yet, definitely need to get tickets because it's going to be a one not to miss.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. Like, I am sick right now and under the weather, and I'm literally trying to do everything it takes, like make myself feel better
Yeah.
before Saturday, because I'm like, I could not miss Saturday for the world. Like, you have no idea how excited I am for Saturday. And then the Sherry Martel Classic, like you said, is on the 29th, and they invited me to come call those matches too. So just being part of an all women's show too is going to be incredible.
That'll be amazing. I'll just pop up quick everyone who's been announced. So you've got Shiva,
Yes.
Jasmine Alluri, I think I pronounced that right.
Yes.
Alexei Grassi, I'll let you do that one. You've got the accent.
Alex Garcia. Uh-huh.
Yep. And then you've got
Hollywood
Haley J, which 4 people have been announced so far, more to be announced. So that's going to be an awesome night for you. And just Reality of Wrestling, the second annual Sherry Martel Classic, I'll call it, or tournament. But yes, that's going to be amazing. What is it like working under this man?
Oh, you know what? My experience has been the most professional setting that I have ever been in. I dare I say, in wrestling, television, radio, writing. I've done it all. And I've been in a lot of professional settings. I've been in a lot more casual settings. When I go to Reality of Wrestling, it is 100% the most professional setting I've ever been in. They take the sport of wrestling very seriously, and I love that, because a lot of people think you could just walk up and just get thrown in the ring. That's not how it works. There's a lot of protocols at Reality of Wrestling that are in place that I don't see at other wrestling companies. And I believe that has a lot to do with the fact that Booker is a WWE Hall of Famer. Sharmell, his wife, is a WWE Hall of Famer. They take this production very, very seriously. And it makes me feel like I am the closest thing to the WWE when I'm at the Reality of Wrestling, because of the way that we conduct our business, the way that we tell our stories, the way that the talent is treated and respected. I feel like I'm in one of the best settings that I could possibly be in. Booker always gives the best advice, and he's done everything in this business. So if he tells you something, you got to take it seriously, because if anybody knows how to get to the next level, is Booker T.
Definitely. 100%. He's
Yeah.
done everything. And the fact that Reality of Wrestling's been around since 2005 and it's still here says something itself. 19 years strong. Next year's the 20th anniversary, so I cannot wait to see what happens with that. I think what they're doing now, I think what they could do next year, amazing.
Yeah, and I like that you said that they've been going strong for so long, because as someone who's been a part of indie promotions, I've seen a lot come and go, which is really sad. It's not easy to keep a promotion going. And as somebody I own my own radio show too. Um, keeping something going is a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and it's not easy to do. So I got a ton of respect for any person who wants to start a promotion, even if it doesn't last a long time, building the courage to do that. But then it's another layer when you have that longevity to add on top of that as well.
100%. Trying to keep anything, or well, from when you start something to try and keep something going so long, it's hard, and
Yeah.
it drains you. But the fact that it's like you with your radio station, me with this podcast, Booker with his company. You start something, you've got to keep going. No matter, you've got to put in the work, put in the grind, and it'll pay off. So we've got the sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, like your YouTube channel too. Like, I mean, the consistency is great that you're doing the consistent stuff, and it looks easy, right? But it looks easy, right? But it's easier said than done. You have to book your guests. You have to wait in case they're running a little late. You have cancellations.
No comment, innit, Carolina? No comment. Wonder who's been late.
And then you have to edit it, you have to put it up, you have
Yeah.
to get subscribers, like, it's and then but sometimes you have those moments where things are going really, really great, but when things are really, really bad, you feel defeated and you just wanna stop it all.
Yeah.
To have that muscle to keep going is, like I said, anybody has longevity in what they do, you can't do nothing but respect it.
100%. So we've got the last few questions, and then that'll be all. So, Mission Pro Wrestling, we'll talk about them. They closed their door. Well, I won't say close their doors. They're on like a little break. Should we call it?
Hiatus.
Yeah, hiatus. They had their last show in August. And you've been a part of that company for a little while. Talk to me about that briefly.
So Thunder Rosa and Brian, actually it was Brian, one half of the ownership at Mission Pro Wrestling and I had been talking for a while. He wanted me to be the GM for Mission Pro Wrestling. And I found out that when he had first told people that he wanted me to be the general manager, the feedback that he had gotten was, why her? Because I am not a professionally trained wrestler. Therefore, like I said, the people who are purist, if you will, in wrestling, like I said, there's boxing purists, there's wrestling purists, like, she's not professionally trained, she's not ready for this. But I was ready for this, because I think people really underestimate the things that I've done myself as an owner, as a boss of a lot of brands in my own company. I think people really underestimate what I'm capable of doing, and people really underestimate the work that I've done, only because I don't broadcast it and just scream it at the top of the rooftops. But he went with his gut. He asked me to be general manager, and it is just the biggest honor that I've had in wrestling to be a general manager at a company. And not only was it like a wrestling company, it was an all women's promotion. And just like Reality of Wrestling, they're one of the top wrestling companies in the world. So was Mission Pro Wrestling. They were ranked in the top 50 wrestling promotions in the world, all ran by women. I don't know if you've seen the videos. Thunder Rosa used to beat the crap out of me. She's hit me with flowers. She's slapped me around, thrown me. She's done a lot of things to me that that if you're weak, you can't handle it. But me, I've been through so much stuff, getting slapped by Thunder Rosa is just another day for me. So I can handle it, but she has a point. You have to have tough love to get to the next level, and that's what she's given to me. And for me as a general manager, it was really hard, because when I came into Mission Pro Wrestling, they literally told me, your role is to uphold our vision. And our vision, it's in writing. It says we are going to uplift and empower women in the best possible way that we can. So when I started seeing all the cheating and all the shenanigans going on, it was hard for me to like keep everyone reined in and keep us balanced and fair. So my role was to keep everybody as balanced and fair as I possibly could, and it was easier said than done. So yeah, but but seeing Mission Pro go on the hiatus made me really sad, and I want us to come back soon. I hope we can.
Definitely. You
I hope.
mentioned Thunder Rosa. She is one of my favourites, and I mean, she is one of my favourites. She's coming to the UK next month, and I'm dying to meet her. I'm just trying to get the time off work or swap, just so I can go see Thunder Rosa. She is the best, in my opinion. The way, no, I've got nothing but great things to say about her. So I'm sorry that she attacked you.
Yeah, no, we made up. We made up when everything went under. We made up because I said some things that were true. You know, I look up to her in a way because I could see a bit of myself in her journey. She's been through a lot. And every time I talk to somebody about her, they're like, I'm a big fan of hers. Like, I went to a UPS to go deliver some mail and I had to print out some wrestling stuff. And they're like, oh, you like wrestling? I'm like, I'm actually in wrestling. They're like, we love this girl named Thunder Rosa. And I was like, I actually work for her. That then I had to like take a picture of the guy at UPS, send it to Thunder Rosa. So like a lot of people are fans of her. I'm gonna see her tonight. Actually, we're going bowling. Yeah, we're gonna go bowling. So it's gonna be
Oh,
really fun. So that's why I also like try to like take my medicine and get better ASAP. I like all these things are coming up for me. Um, but I will tell her that you said hello too from the
I'm,
UK. But are you
you,
really going though? Because I'm gonna tell her, and you better be there if I tell her you're going to
I
be
will make sure I'm there now. I
there.
will
Okay.
make sure I'm there.
But what do I say? Do I say you're Juan Breezy or what do I say?
You say whatever you want, as
Okay.
long as she knows. Honestly, though, she's my favorite, and I watched her in NWA and then moved over to AEW when she was there, and yeah, her YouTube channel, just her matches. I don't think she gets enough credit as what she should deserve.
I don't think
She's
so either.
amazing, amazing human.
Yeah, and what I love her well, the reason why we're gonna go bowling tonight is for a charity event for the Salvation Army. And she I don't know if you know, but do they have the Salvation Army in the UK?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's like they raise money for the community, they give back to the community for like
yeah,
people who are less fortunate. She used this is why her and I connected too. She used the services of the Salvation Army growing up. And so that's why she likes to give back to the community. And then me personally, I also have used the Salvation Army, the women's shelter services for counseling. So you know, our past haven't been the easiest, but we kind of have something in common in a sense where we both utilized charity organization services, and it helped us get out of the dark places that we were in our lives. And now you look at our lives, and we, you know, Thunder Rosa's an AEW superstar. I've done radio. I'm at Reality of Wrestling. These are all things I would have never guessed that I would have done back in the day when I was, you know, down and out. And so that's why we're going bowling tonight for charity, because we want to give back to the community. This is a charity bowling event, so we want to give back to the community in a sense where we know that somebody's going to use the services just like we did one day, and they're going to make something of themselves. And that's
yeah.
exactly why we do what we do.
Awesome, and I think that's amazing. To be honest, nothing but respect for you and Thunder Rosa, and I think if there's anything out there for people to use or any help, I think they should grab it and make full advantage of it.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like some people don't like to ask for help. Some people don't like to say they're in a tough spot, but I promise you, you know, once you get the help that you need, it just takes you out of the space that you're in and keeps you moving forward and helps you reset.
Yeah,
And that's why you like you said, Thunder Rosa is a great human being. Like she literally is a great human being because I've seen her give back to the community over and over and over again. She's an incredible person.
she is my. I think for podcasters, we have dreams and who we want. She, It'll never happen because she's AEW and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe a year or 2 or 3. Do you know what I mean? She is my dream person to have as a female on this podcast.
Oh my God, I've interviewed her so many times on my podcast.
Yeah, but you can. You can. Best friends, America, I'm the UK, time difference.
I would let her know today
Yeah.
if you want to talk to her. She's
I-
very busy, but I'll
Yes,
let her know. I'll let her know.
a friend of a friend.
A friend of a friend. And you've been great you just like let me talk. So
No, honestly, I do appreciate it. The final 2 questions that I ask of everyone, and I know we've run over, I do apologise for that.
you're fine.
Final 2 questions that I ask everyone. I ask for their Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, and then I ask an inspirational message. What are yours?
I'm gonna have the weirdest one.
No, go on.
So the Mount Rushmore for me. Oh, China.
Okay.
I love China. I love her story.
Mm-hmm.
And her story's really tragic.
Yeah.
And sad. And I feel like she deserves to be on my Mount Rushmore because of the fact that she deserves all the credit and love in the world. I think that she has a long way to go to still receive that. And I hope she does one day. And I'm going to pray that she does. But I feel like China, she was the first women's wrestler to fight men. And
Definitely.
I love that. I love that because it's like, I feel like I can look up to her because, like, I had to fight men, you know what I mean? Like, in the industry, so it's like, I can relate to that in a sense where you feel like you're the only girl going up against so many men, and she's just iconic. So definitely China. My other one's gonna be Thunder Rosa. She's gonna be on my Mount Rushmore too.
I was going to say that.
Thunder Rosa is gonna be on my Mount Rushmore too because she's
Yeah.
opened so many doors for me, and this is another one, like, I think, like, doesn't get all the credit that they deserve, so she's gonna be on my Mount Rushmore.
100%.
Yeah, she's gonna be on my Mount Rushmore, because she deserves it, and, another Mount Rushmore, Booker T. See, this is, like, super biased, like
I like where you're going, though. I like how you're doing females, and then maybe 2 men. Let's see.
Yeah. I wish I had a men and a women's Mount Rushmore. Booker T. Wait. Dare I say Charmel instead of Booker T? If I'm keeping it women.
It's up to you. It's all about you.
Oh. You know what? Give me Charmel. I'm going to go with Charmel because
Okay.
Booker T is incredible.
Even though Booker's half your boss.
But Charmel. So this is the thing. Charmel owns Reality of Wrestling too.
Yeah.
And still waters run deep. Have you ever heard that saying?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so still waters run deep. That means, like, you see a Booker T, but, like, the waters are so deep. You see the tip of the iceberg,
I
but the
get what you
iceberg, right? So, like, you don't know, like, all the things that go into Reality of Wrestling and what that is, and you see that surface level of, like, Booker T, but, like, underneath is like Kevin, Charmel, like Brad. Like, feel like Charmel is like a big, huge part of Reality of Wrestling and the longevity. And she's a WWE Hall of Famer, and she's she's very nice too. So dare I say, Charmel is gonna be on my
Okay.
Mount Rushmore too. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it all women. Charmel. Oh. And then my fourth one. Okay, hear me out. Roxanne Perez.
Do you know what? That Mount Rushmore is actually amazing. Not gonna lie. That is. It's interesting, different,
It's
but yeah,
very
I like it.
it's very
Very
different.
different.
It's different because because I like AJ Lee. I like, like I like The Rock, AJ Lee. I like everybody. Like, there's so many people, like, I could say I look up to or whatever. But for me, I feel like these are my experiences. Like, I didn't experience China. She's the only person I've never met. But Roxanne Perez, I've seen her go through the indies work her ass off here in Texas. Sorry to curse. Worked her butt off here in Texas, and she's the most decorated talent at NXT. And she looked up to AJ Lee growing up. So, I like AJ Lee too. Maybe there's an extension of that there, but why not put a young person on the Mount Rushmore already?
That's true. It's like, yeah, I like that. Plus, what many people don't know about reality wrestling as well is the amount of people that has actually come through reality wrestling and where they are now. Prime example, you mentioned Roxanne Perez. Look at the Usos. They came through. They are one of the most decorated tag teams in WWE now and have been for the last 10 years. They're probably, 12-time tag team champions? And there's not many that get past 10. So, you know what I mean? There's loads.
Yeah, and I want to keep. If I had to do men, can I do a man one too? No, just kidding. No, I feel like with the, like you said, the Usos, and like I said, I could see Zilla Fatu going to the WWE, and he's the main one. And he really is. If you think about it, his dad is Umaga. He's got to go up there. So I feel like, yeah, you're right. Like reality wrestling is like talent, like that I've seen. Like I said, I've seen Roxanne Perez when she would come to San Antonio, and she was at Reality of Wrestling. She was just like working that circuit here down in Texas, and I'm just so proud of her growth. I think she's incredible. So she's going on my Mount Rushmore just because I've seen her work her butt off.
Definitely. What's an inspirational message from Carolina?
My inspirational message is the same thing I said at Mission Pro Wrestling. Never give up on your dreams. People are going to doubt you. People are going to want to see you fail. People are going to tell you you don't deserve to be where you're at. People are going to tell you you're not good enough. And people are going to tell you all of these things. But I'm here to tell you that there's this thing called projection. And sometimes when people say things outwardly, that's really how they feel about themselves inwardly. So no matter how much love you receive, or no matter how much hate you receive, just know that that's their inner thoughts about you, and they don't necessarily reflect who you are as a person. So take everything with a grain of salt. You're not as good as people say you are. You're never going to be as bad as people say you are. As long as you stay true to yourself and you know who you are, and you do the work for yourself, and you stay grounded with who you are, and you know what you bring to the table, that sense of self-worth, that sense of groundness, that sense of self-respect, that's going to take you a really long way. So always keep yourself centered and do right by people, and that's going to take you a lot farther than trying to take the shortcut, and it's going to take you a lot farther than what would happen if you try to sabotage or backstab people. So always follow your dreams and move with good intention, and everything will fall into place. I promise you. There's some days where everything's gonna be dark and you feel like you can't get out of this hole that you're in, but continue to stay true to yourself and true to everybody else, and everything will come out the way it's supposed to come out.
That is amazing, Carolina. Thank you for coming on. Like I said earlier, you are guest number 50. So 50 more guests, that'll be big 10, 100. So thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate your time. I do thank you a lot for doing this because I do know that you're under the weather. So thank you. I hope you get better soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for putting up with me. My under the weather vibes.
All right. Tell Thunder Rosa. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Don't even worry about it. I got you. Now, I can't guarantee she's going to say yes.
It's all right.
But I promise you by the end of tonight, she will know that Juan Breezy wants her on her show.
Definitely. I'm jealous that you're out playing bowling. Jealous. I might have to go and play bowling myself.
You know what? She might be able to beat me up inside the ring, but I'm definitely going to beat her in bowling tonight. And I'll let you know how it goes.
I bet you won't. I bet you'll lose.
Let me go back to my inspirational message. People are going to doubt you.
No, seriously, I hope you have a good time.
Thank you.
If there's anything you need from me, obviously for the charity or anything, just give me a message and I'll do my bit.
We don't need anything. We just need your support. Thanks. It means a lot to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.